Hello and welcome. Ron is taking a break this week, so I, Marty B, will be taking over. And joining me today in Hearthcenter is Corden and Lotus Knight. Corden, how are you doing?
I'm doing great tonight. Thanks for having me on. Gotten everything together last minute here, but I think we're ready to go for a good heart center.
Yeah, it should be pretty exciting. Isocles, thank you for the tier 1 sub, 17 months. That's
Ooh,
crazy.
wow.
Thank you. Speaking of wow, Lotus Knight, how are you?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. It's a lot of fun. Octathlon has been way more fun than I thought it would be, so I'm very happy.
Yeah, it's been quite a time. There's so much going on. 8 different tournaments all in a week, pretty much happening at the same time in a new meta with rotation. It's just so crazy. There's so much to talk about. Even nerfs now have
Right.
just been announced and they're coming next week, right? 6 cards.
Yeah, they announced six
Yeah.
cards and kind of touched on everybody that everybody wants. So,
Yeah, well, I still think there's a bit of debate on what cards will be hit, but
Yes.
yeah, we'll have more to say on at least one of those cards later, I think. But
I'm sure.
in the meantime, we do have quite a bit to cover. How about we start with Battlegrounds?
Let's do it.
yeah, let's get right into it.
All right, so Battlegrounds, we have Green Lobby, Blue Lobby, and Red Lobby. First up, Green Lobby split. There were 2 splits, the A split on Friday and the B split on Sunday. We have Bob's Babes, Concede Your Match, Friends of Bob, and the U Ottawa GGs playing. Who wants to run through this?
Yeah, I'll take it. So, in that one for the Friday matchup, your mom kid just went insane again, scoring a double first place for 20 points. Riot's getting a strong 2-5. Hockey Boys 6-2. Agent PWE a 4-6. Eclair tying for 6-5-4. Steffi a 3-8. Bill Snyder an 8-3, and then Triss a 7-7. So that, like, I can't get over your mom kid. I think he scored a double one last week too, which is pretty insane. To see the standing that he's had so far in not only the battlegrounds but in the Octathon battlegrounds as well, which we'll get to in a bit. But he's played insanely good recently.
Yeah, absolutely. Lotus Knight, do you have any takeaways from this?
Um, yeah, really strong showing by your mom, kid. Um, Triss falling a bit back. Triss was doing really well in the beginning and pretty bad lobby, but overall strong performances.
Yeah, I'd say so
Yeah,
too. So good on them for the strong performance, even with some difficult times at certain points. With that
Right.
said, let's take a look at the blue lobby as well now. So that was Bob's Bounty Hunters, Lemurs, Lil Rag Raiders, and Murgle Buse. Lotus, do you have more to say on this?
One second. I just want to make sure I have it open in the right place. I think, yeah, I think this for this particular lobby, we see a lot of some really strong results from players that have been doing pretty well in battlegrounds. We see Andrassi, Pocky, Lily, or Lee, and Jump Float just having the top ranks, and they've been really good. Hoppa still close. So I think this is a lobby where we see that the battlegrounds players that have been dominating last season and that have been doing really well continue to do really well.
Absolutely. It really shows that Battlegrounds is not just a mass hysteria simulator. There's
Yes.
quite a bit of skill that's involved in it.
Yeah, that is true.
So I wouldn't know. I don't play BGs. I just see the quest come up on my weeklies, and I go, new quest, top right,
reroll.
reroll please. So
Yeah, no. I think the thing about this lobby that it goes to mention is that Diamond and Based actually subbed for Lemurs this week. So two pretty major people that were playing for them weren't playing in Mr. Incredible and Jake. And finishing in the bottom two in that lobby, it allowed a lot of teams to catch up to the Lemurs, and it allowed actually Bob's Bounty Hunters to extend the lead. So it's an extremely tight matchup for like from sixth up, I believe, right now. It's pretty tight. So it's something important to remember that, that 1 week taken off, it could have given Bob Bounty Hunters the push they needed because these guys have been neck and neck since, the beginning.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because we have the team standings right on the left on screen, and Bob's Bounty Hunters is just 4.5 points ahead of Lemurs now. And like you said, they were able to extend their lead, and Lemurs falling behind a little bit. It's looking really tight at the top, especially for the number 4 spot. F2L Silver, zero point 0.1 points behind Bob's Babes. We're actually going to be talking about F2L Silver now in the red lobby. Gordon, what do you think?
Yes. So Red Lobby was extremely spicy. It seemed that Itachi has anytime this guy's on Sunday, he does extremely well first and second, and then Cole's getting a first and a third for F2L. There's no reason why they aren't where they are right now. Like such a good, strong showing for them. I mean, it was pretty bad. My team here is Bob's Bouncers, and we had a struggle of a week, I would say. We had a chance to close in on the 6th spot, but F2L had a very strong week, and they pushed ahead, and now they're fighting for the 4th spot right now with Bob's Babes. Liger and Yasher on the team did very well for themselves, but Lemur and Blue Sombrero just kind of took it away, and F2L probably my winning team of the week. If I had to pick one, their team definitely surprised a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot where just a ton of people were sleeping on them early on. And honestly, like, yeah, sure, I show some bias on the shows, but knowing nothing on BGs, people were sleeping on them, and it's like now they're getting the points and people are turning heads. It feels.
Yeah, I think people slept on him because a lot of these guys, other than Blue Sombrero, were kind of middle of the pack last season. So they weren't like the top performer, but they were always okay performers. Blue Sombrero was tied with the most points last season, which is incredible. So these guys coming together, and I think captain by Itachi, they're going to go very far, and they're going to keep showing up in these high lobbies for sure.
Absolutely, it does feel like that. So one last look at the team standings. We have Bob's Bounty Hunters at the top with 152 points. Lemurs is 147.5 points, 4.5 points behind them. Then there's a bit of a cluster between 3rd and 5th. Concede Your Match, followed by Bob's Babes and F2L Silver. Bob's Bouncers are pretty much solidified in 6th, I'd say, right, Gordon? 126.
Yeah, I mean, we're about 5 points away from Phantom Force right now, so it's tough. I mean, that's the thing about Battlegrounds. One bad week, I mean, I got, I think, 3 points, and my teammate did as well. So, and Fire Emblem's actually got a first place for his team. So it's so tough right now. I think it's pretty good. 5 points is a lot in Battlegrounds. Like, you need to win first places to really make up any ground on the people in front of you.
Absolutely. And it feels like there's quite a gap after Phantom Force too, with Little Rag Raiders, Fish and Chips, and Friends of Bob all within 2 points of each other. Then you have Ottawa GGs plus Super Chicken at 101.8 points and Murgle Buse at 91.3 points. So, for the most part, it's very clustered, it seems. And it makes for some interesting races as the season goes on.
Yeah, because I think playoffs is different this year. It's actually 2 splits over 2 weeks. So, and I think the top 6 teams, or it might be I can't remember what it is, but I think more teams might be getting in last year, or I could be
Right.
completely wrong. But I mean, these like half a point and these point twos, it's going to come down to somebody winning a point three and tying with someone in the lobby, and it's going to be pandemonium.
Absolutely. So, be interesting to watch. Definitely something to keep an eye out over the next few weeks before the season gets into playoff mode. Now,
Mm-hmm.
speaking of playoffs and tournaments, we have a big one right now. THL's
We do.
Octathlon. You guys are both in it, right?
Yes, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Lotus, I know you were doing very well too. So, both of you, I'm sure, have a lot to talk about here. Let's take a look at our first set of matches. So, on screen here, we have Conquest. So, this is the top 8 for Conquest. We have Chewbacca versus You Kidding Me, which is already complete. You Kidding Me got a top 4 spot
Yeah.
sealed right now with a 3-1 win. Then Ron Mexico and Disco still have to play. The winner of that will play You Kidding Me. And then on the other side of the bracket, we have Lomlenko versus Risen and Nails versus Snake. And the winners of those will go on to face each other in the top 4.
Those are some really good matches, especially Run Mexico versus Disco. I think Disco's such an underrated player.
Disco didn't really play a ton in THL last season, correct?
I don't
I
believe
don't
so,
think
no.
so. But
Yeah,
he has played for many seasons. He subbed in my team, I think, more than once, at least once.
right. I just don't remember seeing him last season. So this is a very strong return to form, it seems.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's super strong, especially seeing who they came through. Like going through Lemur, going through Swaybe, not getting a bye in the first round and been battling it out all the way through. So it's a really strong showing for Disco there.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just a ton of strong players all the way down, and these guys just happen to get through. So congrats to all of them, and best of luck to them in the future rounds. Next up, though, we have Last Hero Standing. So this one's a bit different. Not all the matches have completed. So we
Yeah.
have the top 8 and those that are competing for the top 8. So in the first match, we have Boozosaurus versus Lotus Knight. Lotus, congrats on winning that and reaching top 4.
Yes.
Thank you.
Uh,
You could say that was quite the lunatic match. That was awful. But yeah, it was a really good match against Booz overall.
yeah, it seems very close. 3-2. Always going to a best of 5 is interesting, especially in a last hero standing meta where you could really just go back and forth.
Right.
So, seeing all those swings, very, very interesting and fun. With that said,
Yes.
we're not sure who you're going to be facing yet because Ufric has made the top 8, but he doesn't know his opponent yet. And that could be between Jammies and Damon. So if you guys were to guess, who's getting through?
Oh man. I mean, I love Diamond and everything, but I think Jammy's played super strong last year and might be riding the coattails of that. So, and it has the buy. I think, has something to prove coming through. Diamond might have got but I mean, nine Iras is no one to scoff at. A 3-0 right there in last year's standings, strong for Diamond. So, but I think maybe Jammies could be coming to prove. He's got to win at least one game, right?
Yeah, we'll have to see. So maybe Diamond gets through, and then he has to take on Ufric. We'll have to
Yes.
see. Now, next match, Heatshock versus RoboCats. This is going to be a big one.
Yeah, this match is nuts.
Yeah, just
uh, yeah, everyone is saying that even with the nerfs coming through, I think everyone thinks if Heat Shot brought the Mage lineup that he did, he's probably just going to win regardless because of Mage. Because everyone brought Mage, and Heat Shock is, I think, the Mage
True.
guy, if I'm not wrong. So everyone's putting their money on Heat Shock right now.
yeah, it's a scary matchup. RoboCats has a tall order in front of him. And then finally, Astro Frog is waiting on his opponent. and that will be either Risen or Disco, who we were just discussing.
Yeah, they're both still alive here in Last Hero Standing, and they're actually both still alive in Conquest. So both players are
Wow.
playing extremely strong. They're actually going on. I think the game's going on right now, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so we might see something there pretty soon. Risen's actually on my team, so I think he might have been saying he might have been going tonight. I'm not too sure. I see scores that are submitted, so
Well, keep us updated on that.
Ooh.
That's always exciting.
yes, I have to see.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
Enjoy.
while you do that, we have classic matches too. Oh, Lotus, you had something?
I was just going to say, if I was going to bet, it's going to be Ufric, Heat Shock, and um, Disco.
Yeah, Disco. They're the ones making it. That's my bet for tonight.
That's a very, very strong top four.
Yes.
Good luck getting that gold if that's what you're
I'm
facing,
going to need
Lotus. So, yeah. Now, classic. Going back to 2014 for this. We got a few more matches. First, FaZe Kinch versus German Shep. Still hasn't been played. C-Mac is waiting for his opponent. And that's between Darkseid and Schlimsch. That match hasn't been decided yet. Third
They're
match.
going right now.
They're going right now. Perfect. Well, third match, I believe someone here is actually going to be playing that.
Yeah, it's me and Geranium. We actually believe we're playing on stream tomorrow after probably around 10 p.m. ET. So that's going to be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, that'll be exciting stuff. So make sure to tune in for that. And finally, this match also just happened about an hour ago, or just over an hour ago. Markshire taking it over Goose 3-2. So all I know is Goose brought an anti-Druid lineup and almost reversed with Markshire, but he was able to pull it through in the end. So Markshire for top 4 in Classic.
Yeah, it's always a very, I guess, interesting move to bring. I mean, Druid's been so dominating in Classic as it has been. I think it has like a 58% win rate right now in Classic. So not bringing Druid's a little crazy, but it's also the type of Druid. A lot of people are playing Savage Roar, even the tokeny style with Violet Spellcaster, but a lot of people are bringing like almost like a control big Druid, just like Malagos and Centuris, just crazy lineups that are just big Druid stuff.
Yeah, it's been really fun to see Ragnaros in a bunch of lists again. Kind of just take Sylvanas, take Ragnaros, put them in, and autocomplete. Good
Yeah,
times.
pretty much. I mean, that's if you're playing like a warrior or a druid, there's definitely a chance you're facing all three, if not more, legendaries, because there's only so much removal in Classic, so something's bound to stick.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
good times. Very nostalgic. So we'll have to wait and see to figure out the top 4 there, but it'll be exciting regardless. And I'm sure we're going to have more of those matchups on stream as well. So very exciting.
Oh yeah, and well, since you mentioned on stream, if you would like to play on School Stones, we don't have any matches scheduled for this weekend yet because you can only schedule so much in advance. But we're always looking for matches from any Octathlon series on Sunday because Saturday there's duos tourney unless you're playing very early on Saturday.
Yeah, get on Schoolstone. We like finals matches or just any match
Yes.
in general. Always exciting.
Yeah, any
Most
match
of
is
the average.
good. It's just honestly, it's just so much fun.
Yeah, and
It's really fun.
the best thing is if you win, you get to ride that high for the rest of the day. If you lose, it's okay. You still have the rest of the day to look forward to. Like
Yeah.
it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, as long as you don't do it right before you go to bed. I've done it before. It's a really bad idea.
No. Don't do that. But that's why we play in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So definitely reach out to Lotus. He'll hook you up.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, we have wild matches. So this one, again, is not set in stone for the top 8. Right now, we have Slod and Dr. Bomb still needing to play their match to figure out if who's going to play 6J. Next up for the other match, Hazer has already made it through, and he's waiting on Snake Fods and Bone Masher to figure out their the winner of that. Now, the other side of the bracket, though, has been decided. We actually have two of our top four, and that's MMW and Bill Snyder. Bill Snyder upsetting Slight, really, 3-2. Slight was one of the favorites to get into top four, I believe, from his side of the bracket. So Bill Snyder upsetting there, really interesting to see. Good on him to get through. Skittles also getting upset by MMW, who doesn't... I don't remember seeing MMW play much wild compared to Skittles. So, interesting to see there that they're really not worried about that and still seeing a ton of success. Good on them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one other thing I want to mention is the meta was really shaken up. I know the last two seasons have been pretty similar because Dark Lair has been a thing.
Yeah.
But that's not the case anymore. So Wild is about as wide open as Standard right now. So if you take a look...
Blew it up? What card blew it up like that?
Far Watch Post. Far Watch Post and Nerubian Unraveler both cost 2. You stick those in Paladin, pull them off of Call to Arms, and then Glare can't draw any of their cards without getting them either taxed in some way. So either they're a Battle Cry and they cost 2 more, or you draw a ton and all your cards that you drew cost 1 more. And because Glare is so fragile and needs those cheaply costed cards, any sort of mana increase or disruption just hinders their game plan to the point where they struggle. So that Paladin is actually extremely favored into Dark Lair right now. To the point where I know people running double Defile in High Legend with Dark Lair.
Just to deal with that early aggression, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so the meta was blown wide open, and you'll see all different kinds of decks right now. Especially in this tournament. So this is nothing like we've seen before, if anyone's curious.
Nice.
And Nerfs next week should shake things up as well.
Yeah, it's gonna do it again. I mean, they let us have our fun, and people get their easy legend pushes now, but it's gonna get shaken up quite hard here in a week or so.
Yeah, imagine making
especially
things
if we lose a
easy.
certain 2-mana weapon.
Yeah, the sword is probably getting hit. Penflinger, I hear, is a good chance of getting hit. I've heard Jandis in the conversation as well.
Yeah.
So there's a few others. But we will see. I think we should probably leave that to Saloon to discuss next time. They're best for the hot takes.
Well, by now they'll already know, though. They'll know what the cards
Let them have their fun.
are.
Mako will shoot me if I say more. Moving on, we have Specialist on screen now. So, Specialist, we have a lot of matches still to play. Okay, only 3 people have made it into the top 8 so far.
4.
Or 4, sorry, 4. You're right, I can't count. Recorded, this is why you're here. I can't count.
That's all good, man.
So, Isocles and Pasca have made it. They will have to play their game. Isocles, I know you're in chat. Congratulations on making top 8. Wish you best of luck against Pasca, but know that Pasca will not make it easy. After that, we have Based Inc., and she's waiting for her match. Lotus, do you want to tell us who they are?
Sure. FaZe is facing the winner of Heat Shock versus Nice Jewish Owl. It's a strong series of games.
Yeah, I'd be concerned with either of those if I were her.
Yes.
Yeah, that one, Heatshock Nice Jewish Owl is actually on stream on Saturday. That's the one before the classic match there, so we're going to get a really good matchup there between those two. So they're like juggernauts in their own good sense. So um, it's going to
Yeah.
be a fantastic showing. And then, man, top eight looks extremely tight.
Yeah, and we don't even have some of those other matches decided. Damon is either facing Totino's Pizza or Asian PWE, and either of them would still make this top eight insane. And then finally, the last two spots in the top eight haven't been decided at all. Gordon, you want to tell us who they are? Those four?
Yeah, so we've got well, I think Wither is through now. That might have been the last one that came through, but Kotamora versus Hickett is going to be facing Wither in the top eight. So that's going to be a difficult one as well. Kotamora's on my team, so I have a little bit of bias there. Got a bye coming into the second round, so it's going to be a strong one. But Hickett is very good, so it is going to be a tight matchup. These are just, they're so hard to tell, especially with Last Hero Standing. You never, or sorry, not Last Hero Standing, Specialist. You got to have the 5-card difference, and it's going to be top 10 or top 8 is going to be very difficult to make it. If you make it through, give yourself a pat on the back, because that's a very difficult feat.
Yeah, thanks for following, Funky Monkey. Appreciate the follow. I just want to say thank you, everyone, for not bringing Control Warrior, because I don't think any of us could sit through another Elysiana Control Warrior Mirror and Specialist for 8 hours. Again.
Oh man,
I
yeah.
got to see Control Warrior on stream actually. Who was it that brought it?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I don't remember now who it was, but we saw Control Warrior on
It
Specialist.
was Nice Jewish Owl.
Oh, is it
Yes.
really? It is too. Yeah.
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 Yeah, we did see that.
Oh,
It was
no.
at least it was facing Rogue.
Okay.
Which,
Well, we're gonna see it again.
Oh, no. But it doesn't have Elysiana, so it's not terrible. You know, what,
That's very
Yeah.
true.
yeah.
and it's still better than Galakron Priest Mirrors. Those were the hardest things to cast that I've ever done.
God, you just kind of you take someone who calls the plays out and have them do everything while you sit in the back, and then as long as they say everything the right way, you just let them handle it. Because
Yeah, pretty
the moment
much.
you start thinking in that mirror, your brain is fried.
Yeah, and there's nothing, like, most of it doesn't really matter. It's just tap the button, see if you get something playable, play it. Yeah, it's not fun.
Not at all. No, thank you. So, now, the next one we have to discuss is a bit different. It was Strike. If anyone is familiar with Strike, I'm sure everyone is. We all know how different Strike is from every other sort of format where you're banning matches instead of decks. So it's unique in its own right. Lotus, you're playing in this actually. Do you want to go over some of these matches?
I can. It's the weirdest format I've ever played. It just, honestly, it makes no sense. I was so confused the whole time, and Baze had a great set of rules. I was still confused while executing them. I don't know if anyone else felt like this, but we have Vampire Nighthawk versus Your Mom Kid on one of the brackets. Both got to top 8. Then the second bracket, there's me versus Damon and Goose versus the winner of Kick-It and MMW. Then MCW versus Markshire, and the winner is going to face MPM2. And finally, the winner of Cole's German Chef faces G-Kick and BOMD. This is a very insane group of players here.
Yeah, and it's wide open too. You know, none of these matches going on. It's still very early. We only know 3 of the top 8 players right now. It could go either way. Like, Hickett and MMW technically have the longest road ahead at this moment. But one of those could still make it into the top 8 very easily.
Oh,
Yes.
Sorry, I just clicked on one of them and it updated. Hickett one.
Well, there you have it. So,
I refreshed. Sorry, I just refreshed my page and I was like, wait, that's reported. So Hickett and Goose.
Yeah.
Today is also the deadline for your first match, so you need to play it all the way to today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
there you
if
go.
you hit refresh again, do we get another match as well?
Uh,
You can check for hero. Let's see if those hero matches were updated.
I'm still sitting on last hero standing. We have, yes, it has been decided. Last hero standing, Disco takes Risen down 3-1 and will be facing Astral Frog in the top 8.
Good to know. And there you have your last hero standing update.
So just waiting on one person for the top 8 to be decided, and or one matchup, Jammy's Diamond, to be decided for top 8.
Yeah. So now we have one other big tournament to talk about that isn't complete, and it's probably the fastest of them all. It's the one I know quite a few people were very excited about, and I think we have our own Discord channel in THL now, correct?
Yes, just recently created the. If you scroll down, there's 2 brand new channels. First one is the Speedstone. So if you want to play Speedstone and nobody's putting Azoth in their deck, get into the channel, ping somebody in it, and you might have yourself a Speedstone Norse Damu match.
Yeah, and looking at this, we have a few people already decided for the top 8. We're seeing 5 of them. So right now, Itachi is waiting for the winner between Amaj and Valdis. And the winner of that will go on to face him for top 4. Next up, it's Agent PWE versus Hazer, the well-known wild guy. And then we have a board member, 2-star Mako versus Obviously for the 3rd spot in the top 4. And then for the last match, we don't know who's actually going to make top 8. We're waiting for Turtle and Snake to play their game to determine the 7th person in top 8. And the winner of Roadrunner versus FBM2 will play the winner of the aforementioned match.
Yeah, Speedstone is been. I haven't caught many, and I haven't seen really any games, but I think it's one of the, like you said, it's one of the most well sought after ones. I think, other than Classic that came out, because you kind of have the choice to make. Do you bring a deck like No Minion Mage that has been so strong, or Rogue that has been so strong, and have to make all your decisions so fast, or do you play a deck that is just straight up hit you in the face and I don't want to think about things?
Yeah, I know for one, Itachi brought a he went bold and he brought a Penflinger deck.
He's a thinker. Yeah. Itachi is a thinker, man.
He's a top tier roper. That's all I can say. I don't know how he does it with that APM, but I know he calls his opponent a loser a lot. Can confirm that. So we'll have to see how this goes. But when these matches are played.
Again, sorry, I just refreshed and Obviously took a 3-1 win over 2-star Mako. So Obviously got through and is the first top 4 member of Speedstone.
Well, there you have it. Getting updates in show. Thanks, Gordon, for that.
I just want to say, Avi complained that I was playing too fast last time we did duos. So I'm going to say that he's the one who plays too fast.
Well, you just helped him get to where he needed to be.
That's true. That's true.
That's it. You just had to he had to match your tempo of play, your APM, just to really force his hand here, and you got him in the top 4. So there you go.
Oh, there you have it.
That's true.
Yeah, and then finally, we have one more tournament to discuss within Octathlon, but that one's already complete. Corden, you're the BGs man here. You want to tell us about BGs in Octathlon?
Yeah, it was. I think there was a lot of surprises from who was in what lobby and which lobbies went which way. But to pretty much say, the final 8 was Lil Nenko, Rebob, Your Mom Kid, Atomic Ghost, Jammies, Wild 9, Dabs, and Swebe. And all of these individuals, I think, other than Jammies is not playing in BGs this year, are playing in the BGs. Rebob might not be playing in BGs this year again,
Rebob is
but
not.
it's pretty strong. I mean, the final standing. So how it worked is pretty much there were 24 people, I think, if math works out well. Yes. And we broke into 3 lobbies. We all played. Top 4 from each lobby progressed, and it just kept going that way until the final lobby. And then they played it out. With your winners, with your mom kid picking up a bronze, Rebob picking up a silver, and Lil Nenko picking up that first gold of the Octathlon.
Can we talk about how he got 2 first place wins?
Yeah.
And a second?
He played absolutely insane. I mean, Lil Nenko he's a very strong BG's player. Same with your mom kid. They're actually they're on the same team for Octathon, so they actually brought home 2 medals so far for their team, which just crazy standings right now to bring 2 medals and only have 1 series ending so far. So especially with how many people and how BG's is so crazily varied at some points in life. So really, really good.
Yeah, it's just insane to think about. So congrats to them, and watch out for Nenko, because yeah, I'm just left speechless. 2 first places and a second. No, thank you. I don't want to be in a lobby with that. So
I actually think he got 3. He might have gotten more in like previous ones.
more
Like when I
reason
say
to
he was
avoid-
playing crazy, he was playing like lights out. I don't think anyone was stopping that man. He
more
was just
reason
going
to
crazy.
avoid BGs and THL. Good to know. And there you have it, your Octathlon recap. So we have not had much to talk about today, just Octathlon and BGs for the most part. We'll have more starting next week, I believe, because we'll have actual seasons going on besides BGs, and we'll have the Duos off-season tournament to talk about as well.
Yeah.
Can I propose a question for us to close with something fun?
What's the question?
Yeah, let's hear this first. I don't agree to things beforehand.
Okay. Guess the 6 cards that will be nerfed.
Oh man.
Okay.
Okay.
I gotta count on my fingers. You go ahead, Marty.
All right. Let's see.
I mean, let's not
Penflinger?
count Lunacy. We all know Lunacy.
Yeah, Lunacy is just one.
Okay. So then the 5, yeah. so then 5
Sword of
more.
the Fallen, Jandis,
Okay.
Penflinger. God, I want to say the 3/5 Watch Post.
Not
one
the
that
2/4?
the one that summons grunts.
Not the 2/4. The one that summons grunts. Because
Yeah.
that's the one I've seen more of in standard.
More Shar watch post.
Yeah, more Shar Watch Post, I think. And then I really want them to hit Refreshing Spring Water, but I do think they're also going to hit the 4 Watch Post. Those are my 5.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with all those. I think the reason they don't touch the 2-mana watch post is because it can be dealt with typically, usually easier than people give it. I guess it really only disrupts like 2 or 3 cards before it's dealt with. I think the grunt it's difficult. I don't know. It's very strong. I think definitely. Oh, do we say Jandis?
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I think Jandis is going to get touched on too. I think she's dodged a lot of stuff and she needs to get dealt with because, especially with the 5 drops that we've seen coming out, it's just gotten insanely better. So, and the rotation has brought stuff out and mana buffs and so on and so forth. So, I think Jandis is probably going to be the one that gets hit, and Lunacy is obviously the biggest offender at the moment right now.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the Far Watch Post for a second before Lotus goes and say why I think like it's one of the most overrated cards for nerfing. And it kind of relates to the standard. My experience has mostly been with Wild, but I think the same applies to standard. When it comes to aggro, and mid-range decks that curve out, 9 out of 10 times you don't care about the far watch post. You ignore it and then you win regardless because that thing can't put on any pressure whatsoever. And your opponent is wasting 2 mana to play a 2/4 that does nothing for them. You only ever care about it when you're control or a high cycle combo deck. And in those situations, you usually have the removal to deal with it regardless.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's my opinion on it and why it doesn't have to be nerfed. I think there was an exaggerated outcry in the first few days because people hadn't learned to play around this card yet. But
yeah,
now people have learned.
I think because it was put in so many, everyone put that like either 5 or 7 card combo if you wanted to play the 4 mana watch post in pretty much every deck. That's what got people, I think, a little bit bothered about the watch posts, and they just you hit the nail on the head. They didn't know what to do or how to play against it, and maybe they utilize some tools to remove a 2/4 that really wasn't affecting you. But it's difficult because I know Blizzard doesn't really like to mess around and change things that are brand new, and the watch posts are more of a newer concept. So I don't know if they want to touch on them because it's kind of like that baby that just came out. They want to let them free and reign free and in Hearthstone right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it, but I also wouldn't be the most upset if we didn't, because really, if you play Watch Post, I mean, Weapon Rogue has been becoming quite popular a little bit to deal like with mages sometimes, go a little bit quicker, and Shaman as well with the Always Doomhammer, and just smacking your opponent in the face when they have Watch Posts up is kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it really feels like this meta, all it needs is just a bit more aggro, and then we wouldn't have nearly as many problems as we do now. But Lotus,
Yeah.
sorry for keeping you waiting for so long. What are your
no.
5 cards outside of the one card we all know is getting hit?
Sword of the Fallen is definitely getting hit. There's no argument there as well. I think Jandis, if not Jandis, I think it's going to be either Shadow Step, which has been needing it for a very long time, but they've been ignoring that card. It's a problematic card. Or if not Shadow Step or Jandis, it's Passage. Passage has been in the list also for a really, really long time. So I could see either one of those two. If it's not that, well, it's one of those for Rogue. Then for neutral, Flinger, most likely Flinger has to go. I think the 2 mana tower is the one hurt. I don't actually think they're going to hit the 3 mana one, but then they will later. I think it's a card that they won't hit now, but they will in a bit. But I'm going to say a spicy one here. I'm actually going to say First Day of School. That card makes Paladin so consistent, and it's so good right now. It just, every single Paladin deck for the end of time is going to play First Day of School in Standard. It's just that good, and I think it needs to be carved down in power level. Either that or Attendant. You can't have that many good 1-drops.
Yeah, I'm just reading chat here, and Heat Shock, I think I agree with the Libram Paladin. The Libram's got to be touched in some way, and I think you're right with that. Attendant might be a way to go after it. I don't know if reducing the mana cost on it, because, I mean, Librams was a thing before we had Barons, right? So clearly there's an issue in Paladin that Librams with, like, Penflinger and Brooms was a big problem. So maybe touching on the sword is definitely a hit, but something along the lines of Librams could be something they look into, because we've had them for a very long time now. They have been more oppressive. Paladin has always been good. So I'd be interested to see if they go after maybe something that's already been in the deck rather than trying to hit something that is brand new.
Right. And I think First Day of School or Outdoor Attendant are so major that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. They did say they'll come by next week, so we'll probably know by the end of the week
Yes, there's a whole ton going on this week, next week. It's the next 2 weeks for THL and Hearthstone is pretty crazy.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks and the next 2 weeks, pretty much. So, very exciting times. A whole month of news, basically, and games to play. Now, before we wrap up, I think we've all been alluding to this for quite a bit, and that's the RNG card of the week. So, the card we considered is a pretty popular one, I'd say.
Yeah.
Whether you're on the side of liking it or hating it, you have to admit it offers a ton of RNG, and I think we can all say it's pretty defining of the last week. So, without further ado, the RNG card of the week is Deck of Lunacy. Man, this card is just everywhere right now.
Yeah. It's the card, right? I mean, it's really everyone like Sword allows, paladins to cheat out secrets, and they've got very strong secrets right now. But Deck of Lunacy, a 2 mana, literally cheat your entire deck for 3, and with the rotation and being able to pretty much guarantee getting yourself a Libram of Hope or Naga Grand Slam for like 5 or 4 mana just makes it complete. There's no aggro deck in the world that can go fast enough to kill them.
Yeah. It's just, especially when board-based decks are out of the game right now because of the watch post, so kind of it has its turn to reign the meta, pretty much.
Yeah, the thing is, this is a card, it's basically Kaliseth in Mage. And we all know how unhealthy cards like Kaliseth and Barnes were. And this is basically that on steroids, because you're high rolling so hard for the rest of the game. It's not just +1/+1 buff that stacks every turn. Sometimes you're getting 4 3/5s on the board attacking your opponent on turn 4.
Mm-hmm. It's so insane.
There's nothing like it. The small spell pool just blows all the spells that you get out of the water when they're discounted. It's just insane value and tempo. And with that, you can't help but say this meta has been defined by it, and it's RNG. So it's the RNG card of the week before it gets nuked.
Yeah, it's gonna get smoked. I think it's probably gonna be one of the worst ones we've seen. I think they might. I don't even know if a mana cost is gonna hurt it too much. You know what I mean? Like, is seeing Deck of Lunacy at 4 mana gonna change how the deck is played?
Yeah.
Just because it gives, I guess, decks 2 more turns before they get smoked.
It does. You give this the Blood Bloom treatment. Back in Wild, when we had Darkest Hour Warlock, those 2 turns made a huge difference. And that deck went from tier 1 to tier never see play again. I only know like 1 or 2 people that will play it for the meme. But you don't play
So
that
do they
deck
want to
anymore.
kill the card, though? I guess that's the question. Do they kill the card, or they still want no minion mage to be a thing? Because they did just make Refreshing Springwater, which I think enables the deck to literally draw 0, draw 2 is insane. A lot of people are saying Pot of Greed. Yeah, I play Pot of Greed into Pot of Greed. Yeah, it's crazy. And like, there's a reason that draw is so strong, and just drawing cards for nothing seems really good. So I don't know. If 4 mana seems like it might just kill it dead, and then I don't know if Mage even comes close to it.
I think I'd be okay with that. So I don't have to lose to turn 4 the Grand Slam anymore. I like to think my turns through, thank you.
Yeah. It should just cost 4 so far, man.
Yeah, because what this card does, basically, in an open decklist tournament setting, let's just look at it from an open decklist tournament perspective. When your opponent plays this card on 2, you no longer know what you're going to have to play around. There is nothing, very little for you to do. Well, you're dealing with a whole pool of spells.
Yes.
So for every single spell of a certain cost, there's a pool of spells that it could be. And then you have to consider that they might have that, and they might have drawn it. And having to figure that out just sounds like way too much work. So you might as well just pretend that it doesn't exist. And then you can't play around anything. And you're just praying that you can get there in the end. And that kind of feels bad.
Yeah.
Especially with in Cantor's flow, changing like the values, and then they could just get an unlimited more amount of Deca generation. Like it's upsetting when you see it like turn coin into like lunacy into incanters. It's just, you pretty much just quit because you're just so upset.
At that point, they're cheating so much mana that you'll never be able to catch up.
Yeah, straight up. I've literally seen Trick Totem hit a Incanter's Flow in a game, and then the person played the 2 Incanter's Flow in the deck, and then like it's just such an insanely strong deck. So, but yeah, it's, I don't know. It was a meme card that finally has breath because of the rotation, and that those top end cards are so strong, and really you get a lot of draw in Deca Lunacy. I don't know how many times I've had 3 hands of Gul'dans in my hand and just not able to play them because I have no more cards in my deck.
Yeah, the 6 mana
Every
slot.
6 cost spells.
Yeah, the 6 cost spell slot is really just draw.
Yeah.
So no more Blizzard. And were there any other cards at the 6 mana slot that did other things? That rotated? I might not be remembering any.
They put Soul, what is it? The oh my goodness.
Oh yeah,
the Warlock. They discounted it by 1. It's no longer
Siphon
6.
Soul
It's
was
5.
6 mana.
Siphon Soul. It's 5 now.
And there was also a priest card that you would deal 4 damage to a minion, and then if you killed their minion, it would summon a copy for you. That also
Infiltration.
rotated. Yeah.
Isn't that still around?
Is it?
I thought Infiltration was still around.
Oh, I might have forgotten. Might be getting it mixed up.
Yeah. And Sprint went from 7 to 6. Yeah, Icecleeze is right. I've gotten Sprint a ton.
Yeah, so you're just getting straight gas
Yeah.
off all your 3 mana spells. And the deck never runs out of things to do.
Never.
So it's just insane. What else is there to say? RNG card of the week. Enjoy your time in the sun because you are leaving it next week.
Oh yeah. There's no way they'd leave Lunacy. That would be the most insane thing Hearthstone has ever done.
Yeah. So with that wraps up our shortened show for this week. I want to say thanks to Corden for coming last minute and Lotus for stopping by again. Really appreciate you guys being on. And I also want to give a shout out to Ron Mexico for doing this every week. I was supposed to last week, but with all the expansion stuff, we decided not to have a Hearthcenter show. And just working on this today, it goes to show like how much work this man puts into THL. It's insane. He's one of the most hardest working people within the content team, and he deserves all the credit he gets for it. So thanks to him. And again, thank you Lotus and Corden for coming. Really appreciate it. Do you guys have any last words?
I mean, I just want to thank you for doing this. People don't realize how much work preparing a stream is. I had to do the card review, and it literally took me 4 hours of my day to make sure the whole stream was set for card review. And it's just amazing when someone puts the work to do a stream like this. So I just wanted to say it's really appreciated from a cast host side.
Yeah, I'm by no means an opper, or do I know how to operate Streamlabs or OBS by any sense of the imagination. So what you guys do is super incredible. So I gotta say thanks. I'm just the guy that gets asked to come on and talk about things that I like to talk about. I even asked Marty if I had to prepare anything. He's like, "No, I got you covered, man." I was like, "Perfect, I'm there." So thanks for having me on. I watch Hearthcenter every week, and I'm glad I finally got to break through and make the debut.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming by, and thanks once again to everyone watching. So best of luck in your Octathlon matches, and we'll see you next week.